Okay, we are live. All right, so there's going to be no workout show today because today we're rolling back to Los Angeles and we are going to be super busy today. But like I said, I had to catch my workout early this morning before I rolled out. You got to take care of that first. But like I said, rolling back to LA, back to the LA from the Bay, rolling. You see me rolling, rolling. But interesting week. Work has been phenomenal. Connections have been phenomenal. Everything's been going well. And you got your ups and your downs, your dips, your ins, your outs. But you know what? It's all coming together. And this segment isn't about working out. I'm just talking while driving. But like I said, ups and downs, in and outs, work. And I do have another channel where I talk business and talk about investments and those types of things. So, I just got through doing that. That one, was on YouTube. I just started that level up financing. You know what that is. Get your leveled up financing. But like I said, we headed to LA to handle business, of course. LA, from LA, from the Bay to LA. Um, I know that I was talking about a subject of people trying to get work, trying to get jobs. And okay, and I think this was a good segment I had explaining how to get jobs. So there are four main ways to be able to get jobs, and I'm just talking about this on this segment because there will be no workout tonight. Maybe, well, I might be able to get a workout in. I don't know. I got to pick my daughter up, and she needs my attention 24/7. But the best way is to get a job because a lot of people are having a hard time getting jobs right now. And as a person, I hire people all the time, and I know what I look for when I hire somebody as far as just being able to get a job. What you need to look for, what I look for when I hire people just in general. Well, before I go into what I look for, I'm going to tell you the four best ways to get a job. And this is important. If you're looking for a job right now and on a job hunt, these are the best ways to get a job. I know, trust me, I'm older, I've done it all, and I've figured it out just by trial and error. So listen to me, it definitely qualifies because at this point I now hire people. So one, one of the, and it's no specific order what works better than others. I'm just going to tell you in general, sometimes one way might work better than the other. But number one, and not necessarily the best way, but one of the best ways. Number one, networking groups. Now I know you hear these networking groups. People try and get jobs in these networking groups. Uh, they go in these networking groups and then they meet people, and then you try and meet somebody a higher up and try and get the job and try and make a good impression on them. And that can be that can be advantageous to a certain degree. I think the networking groups are a must just in being able to get a job. Now, getting a job at making $250,000 a year, to send emails and make phone calls. Okay, those jobs come from knowing the right person. Okay, you got to know the right person if you're going to get a job making $250,000 a year, and you get to make emails. So that's from the person that knows, hey, my dad knows the CEO of Pepsi, and they're going to get me a job, or this person knows this person. Those jobs are far and few in between. I've been working at this job, and I know this person, and this person is going to get me to this level. So Getting those types of jobs is all networking. You got to know the right people to get those jobs. But the way to get past that and to at least get your foot in the door if you don't know anybody to get a job is to go to the networking events and find a decision maker. Now, not all networking events are created equal. Trust me, not all networking events are created equal. Look them up online. These big, giant, huge networking events where you don't know anybody and you're going in and there's thousands of people there and then there's some corporate people there and you're trying to talk to the corporate people and dude, they're not going to remember you. Everybody's trying to talk to these people. Everybody's passing out materials. Everybody's trying to find a way to get a job from these people. That's not going to work. The best way to get in close to these corporate people that have these good jobs or get your foot in the door jobs is to find networking events that are small. Now, find these networking events with like probably 10 to 15 people max. It's like even smaller than that, the better. Because those events, they always have some corporate heads there. They always got 2 to 3 really good corporate people there. And you want to network with those people. And the best thing about it is you're not in competition with hundreds of people or thousands of people trying to talk to these people. They're going to remember you. So you take the time and you make a good impression on these people. You talk to them. You say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Make sure you talk to these people and build a good rapport with everyone there. Say, hey, you know what? This is what my company does. What is your company looking for? You're looking for this. Or if you're trying to get a job, say, hey, I work in this field. What is your company looking for? You're looking for that? Oh, I got a degree in this. That's the best way to get in with them. And then make sure you get their contact information. Make sure you send them a letter. And make sure you send them something where they're going to remember you. So it's all about them remembering you. And what I always say, number one, not just memory, people do business with people they like. So the person needs to like you. Does the person like you? Make a good impression. Put your best foot forward. Does this person like you? If the person likes you, you at least get your foot in the door. You can get an interview because there's thousands. Just putting your resume online and sending it out, there are literally thousands of people applying for those jobs. Thousands, especially now. Thousands of people apply for these jobs. You're looking at all these resumes. You're going through it. Think of you as the hiring person, and you're looking at all these resumes, and they're qualified. And it doesn't matter if you find people are qualified or not. No matter what, there's going to be a bunch of qualified people in there. Now, how do you choose who you want? All you see is names. All you see is names, right? How are you going to make a decision of who you want to pick to get this job? Oh, well, this resume looks good, but this resume looks good. It's going to become cumbersome after a while. You got to get in there, get your face in there, and let the person see who you are so they know who you are and you can get the job. That's the best way to go about it as far as a networking event. Get in there, give them your information, make a good impression, make sure the person likes you. Now, a second way to get a job is to go directly to where you want to work. Now, when you want to go directly to where you want to work, say, you know, you want to work at, let's make it easy. Say you want to work at Kmart or Target, something like that. You want to work there as a specific target. Now, I'm just saying this just for reasons of getting a job. What you do is you walk into Target and you go straight up there and you say, hey, hi, where's the manager? Can I speak to the manager? And they're going to direct you to the manager, and then you talk to the manager and say, hi, are you the manager? They say, yes. Are you the hiring manager? You want to find a decision maker. Find that decision maker, that hiring manager, and then pull out your resume and give them your resume. Now, be cautious of this, though. If you go inside and ask to speak to a manager, do not tell them why you're there until you know you're speaking to the manager. If you go to an employee and say, hey, I want to speak to your manager, I'm trying to get a job here, be wary of that. There was a time when I was younger, 18, I went in to try and get a job at this I forgot what it was, but it was like this sales job. And I went in there and I said, "Hey, I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to work here. Can I please speak to the manager?" They're like, "Oh yeah, come speak to the manager. This is him right here." So they had me go talk to the guy, and I talked to him and said, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to get a job here. This is my resume. I have this. I've done this." He's like, "Oh great, okay, we're gonna be in contact with you." I'm saying, "Great." So then I went home. 2 days go by, 3 days go by, 4 days go by, 5 days go by. Nothing. I said, what happened? So I go back up to the job. I say, hey, I see the information desk. I go to the information desk. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to find the manager here. And she's like, oh, you want to talk to the manager? I'm like, yes. Can I speak to a manager? She's like, oh, here he is. He's right here. So she calls him up. She says, hey, come here to speak to him. He needs to speak to you. So I started speaking to him. I'm like, hey, you're the manager? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, I brought my resume to a different manager. And he's like, a different manager? He's like, yeah, I brought my resume in and I wanted to get a job here. He's like, no, I never got your resume. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, well, that's the guy, that's the manager right there. He's like, that's not a manager, that's an employee. So they they don't. You got to understand, people don't want the competition of somebody else working there. You might be better than them. You might be pushing them out. You might be competing for them because this was a sales job, you know. And for the simple fact that they didn't want that competition in there, they act like they were sending me to somebody to talk to. And that guy took my resume and threw it in the garbage. So when you go in there, do not say you are looking to get a job. Tell them, make it look like you're a customer and you need to make a complaint or something like that, or you need to. Don't say you're there to get hired. Say you need to talk to the manager. And then when you're talking to the manager, say, and you know you're talking to the manager, say, are you the hiring manager? And if he says yes, then you pull out your resume. That's the best way to do that. Trust me, people aren't your friends on the job, okay? Especially in corporate America where they're climbing on top of each other and people are fighting for a position. Trust me, I run a company. I've Everybody comes to me. They're telling on each other all the time. Oh, this person did this and this person did this, and you know, trying to call up and oh, this person did this, and oh, I get that all the time. Trust me. All I do is just say, okay, okay, okay. People are not your friend on the job. Okay, you guys are both fighting for as much money as you can make on the job. But anyways, that's the second way to get a job. Third way you can get a job quickly is once you send your resume in, once you send everything in, you have to call. Call in, send a letter, send something that makes them pull your resume. Say, hey, I submitted my resume. What's going on? I sent my resume in. How come I haven't heard back? My name is such and such. I haven't heard anything. Trust me, they're going through thousands of resumes. They need somebody to call in and pull it. They're gonna have to pull your resume. They're like, oh, what's your name? My name is so and so. At least that'll give you a better chance. Or send an email, or send a letter, or send some kind of letter to them, to the hiring manager, and say, hey. And what's even better, send a package, because letters are one thing. People get letters all the time and toss them away. But if you send a package, somebody's gonna open a package. Like somebody open a package, whatever it is. You could just have a letter in there. You can have anything in there. Just send a package. People open packages. People don't really open letters. So, and then when you send that, they'll open it and then they'll look at it. It's just like advertising. Anything you send in advertising, people are going to see it. It's going to register in their brain. Then they're going to pull your resume and say, okay, this is such and such, John Doe. Let's pull John Doe's resume out of the sea of resumes that we got and see what's on here. Oh, John Doe. Okay, he matches everything. Boom. That's another good way to get hired. Number four, a fourth way to get hired. And I'm just gonna put it this way. This requires a lot of guts. Go to the job you want to work, find a person that works there, and become friends with them. Now, that that is going to make you unstoppable if you do that. If you do that, if you like working for people and you like getting jobs, if you can do those things, that right there, that'll build up so much rhino skin because who knows what can happen in that situation. You might get rejected. You got to get used to getting rejected, get your rhino skin up. You got to go try and talk to different employees. You got to try and say, hey, this, and this, befriend them. Like, find a way to actually get your foot in the door because the best way, the way I've been able to get jobs when I was younger, 19 years old, like I got a job at Best Buy, and I only got the job because my friend worked there. He was working in the camera department, and they put me in the electronics department. We were both like nerdy programmers, making websites. He's like, "Oh, hire Marcus." I'm like, "Oh yeah, give me a job there." And I got a job. I didn't make nothing. I think I was making $9 an hour. $9 an hour. That was a long time ago. I was 19 years old in college, making $9 an hour. And but I was fine with it. I was like, okay, I'll take that. But either way, I only got that job because I knew somebody that worked there. Bam, that's it. Now, what to put on your resume, and this is so important. This is so important. This is so important because I look at thousands of resumes all the time. When I hire somebody, I look at so many resumes, it's almost mind numbing. And just it almost is like people just make one resume, and a resume is not one size fits all, okay? Oh my gosh, people put these resumes together, and they'll have one resume, and the resume will be like it'll be full of like, how do I put it? Googly gop. It's like, what is this? Why are we doing this? What's this for? Why are we doing this resume like this? Why? Makes no sense at all. Why would you put a resume together that doesn't correlate with the job you're doing? Don't ever do that. You guys, don't ever do that. Stop doing that. Never do that. Make sure your resume, make sure your resume goes with, at least talks about the job you want, and put it at the top. Like, okay, say you're coming to work in IT cybersecurity. You're going to work as an IT cybersecurity specialist, IT specialist. When I pull your resume and I go to look for an IT specialist, I want that to say at the very top your contact information, and then the next line after contact information, applying for an IT specialist, and then after that, explain why. I've worked as an IT specialist. I know this. I know this. I know this. I know this. I know this security. I know this security. That is a great resume for the simple fact that I know you can do the job that I'm looking at. There are so many people that turn in resumes that don't say nothing. It'll be like, okay, I'm looking for an IT specialist, and then I'll get a resume, and it'll be like, oh, underwater basket weaving. Oh, I worked at the movie theater, and like, what, like, okay, how does that pertain to what you just threw this resume out everywhere and just hoping that it'll hit? That is the biggest waste of time. Don't ever do that. Whatever job you're applying for, if you're applying for an IT specialist and then another one you're applying for to work at, Bloomingdale's, change the resumes up. One, talk about the IT stuff and the cyber, and then when you send that resume to Bloomingdale's, talk about how you worked in clothing, whatever it is they do at Bloomingdale's. I've worked in clothing, well, Sephora. Say, oh, I've worked in the makeup industry for years, and switch it up. And then after that, put your education and all that stuff. Because guess what? People don't even care about your education and your degrees and all that stuff. They don't care about that. They want to know if you've done the job. That was the biggest, one of the most harshest things I've learned in the job market, especially me looking at stuff. I don't care about. You could put you went to Harvard. Now Harvard is, they're gonna check. They're not. They're probably not even gonna check. They're not gonna check and see if you actually graduated from the school. They don't do that half the time. People put all types of stuff. Oh, I graduated from Harvard, and dude, they don't even care about that. Can you do the job? Now, if you're going for a big exec job, they're gonna check that. They're gonna be like, okay, you want to make $350,000 a year. You graduated from Harvard. Harvard is a network because that's all colleges are. It's a network. It's a club. Okay, you're in the Harvard club. We're gonna check, and they're gonna check you and make sure you was in the Harvard club. But if you're saying you went to Harvard and you're applying to be a you know be an IT specialist or be something that whatever make it 150 or 80,000 or something like that, they're not even gonna check. But they're gonna want to know that you can actually do the job. Boom. Always put that stuff at the top. Also, put on your resume. I don't care what you're applying for. You don't have to put it at the top, but put it somewhere in there. You worked in AI something. That's just a trigger word right now. People look for AI. You've done some type of work in AI. You understand Chat GPT. You understand how to use these things. You got to understand the people hiring people are usually older people that don't even know how to send emails. A lot of these people who are at the top can't even send an email properly. Get in a position where you say, look, I can do this, Chat GPT, whatever it is, Gemini, Note, whatever it is you're using. Tell them that you know how to use this and that you can be of some, you know, a resource for them. Make sure your resume speaks to what they're looking for, basically. Yeah. So this is basically off subject, off the cuff, driving talk. I know, I know. Not working out. I worked out earlier today, but something different. And we are going to put that in drive mode. We are going to be out. Peace.